Hey guys, I'm back. Good morning. I hope everyone is doing well, or good afternoon to those of you who are already in the afternoon, such as the East Coast. I wanted to bring another story. This is from Atlanta Black Star. I like this publication. I need them to work on their editing a little bit better, but we all make mistakes, and other than that, um, I will continue to look up articles on various topics: science, politics, things in the news. And one reason I do that is because it's good to look at alternative sources to find information instead of depending on us as black people, depending on mainstream media, CNN, NBC, CBS, Fox, and so forth, cable television. It's better for us to expand our horizons to different opinions. Um, so I just wanted to give that. And oh, yeah, for announcements. Um, I'll probably be putting out a few more videos today. I have a lot of errands to run. I got this raggedy ass Samsung Galaxy S8 that I got yesterday. I can't get the Wi-Fi to work, so I'm gonna go to T-Mobile and get that straightened out. And a few other things I have to do, but I will be putting up, recording a few more videos today on various topics. Maybe one on science, maybe one on traveling. I have interest in traveling, so we'll see. But there was a interesting story here about a mayor in Northern California. Now I live in Southern California, but this is published today. It's very interesting. Um, so it says young Northern California mayor advances innovative concept of universal basic income, but faces pushback. I wonder who he's facing pushback from. In this picture, it says Stockton, California Mayor Michael Tubbs. So the black man in the gray suit is the mayor of Stockton, California. It starts off by saying, universal basic income, a regularly issued cash benefit for all adults, remains just a progressive concept on a national level in the United States. But that hasn't stopped tech entrepreneurs like Richard Branson and Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg from getting behind it, partly in response to the jobs likely to disappear as tech automation continues, the effects of which have already caused ripples inside Silicon Valley. Much has changed on the West Coast, as the lack of affordable housing and the soaring costs of, well, everything have forced native Californians to make tough decisions in recent years. Some, like this writer, Cecilia Smith, that wrote this article, have left altogether, while others have persevered, moving farther out from metropolitan centers and opting for longer commutes in an attempt to escape the Bay Area's crippling homeownership and rental prices. Despite boasting some of the highest salaries in the nation, even Silicon Valley has felt the pinch, with workers increasingly leaving for other areas. In a report on last year's tech salaries, Hired, which is a publication on labor statistics, revealed, quote, for decades, Silicon Valley has been the epicenter of the tech industry, but the rise of new technology and innovation hubs around the United States and the world are challenging the Bay Area's reign. In fact, after adjusting for cost of living in San Francisco, cities like Austin, Melbourne, Seattle, and Toronto are increasingly attractive spots for tech workers to grow their careers, end quote. Those not already making $100,000 annually have found it even harder to stay afloat, including residents of Stockton, a mid-sized city just east of the Bay Area that was once plagued by the highest foreclosure rates in the nation after the collapse of the housing market. Since the city filed for bankruptcy in 2012, it has struggled to plagued by high housing costs and low wages. Faced with dwindling opportunities and rising costs, many are struggling in a state that has the sixth largest economy in the world. It's a situation that 27-year-old Stockton Mayor Michael Tubbs is all too familiar with. He is very, very young. Wow. Speaking with CNN Money last October, he shared his own experiences with economic uncertainty, including the predatory payday loan companies his mother sometimes used to help the family get by. Quote, if we had $300 a month, life would be less stressful, or we could move into another neighborhood. Maybe she would have been able to go back to school and get her BA or pursue a passion, end quote, said Tubbs. Now Tubbs is trying to create a financial safety net for Stockton residents, announcing an initiative called the Stockton Economic Empowerment Demonstration, or SEED, shortly after taking office last year. Under Tubbs' program, several hundred low-income residents would receive $500 payments per month for 1 year, with no official requirements needed to qualify. Announced in October, the website advertised that the program will, quote, kick off the demonstration with a 6 to 9 month design period that will prioritize community engagement and feedback. In that time period, we will concrete the family selection process and identify research and storytelling partners. We also identify research priorities that complement existing research on unconditional cash transfers in the United States and invest in storytelling that honestly and authentically uplifts the experiences of recipients. Okay, what is this storytelling? I need to find out more about that. Um, hmm. Okay, it goes on to say, in lieu of tax dollars, the program is being funded through crowdfunding. Okay, crowdfunding. So that would be your GoFundMe's and Indiegogos, I guess, or Donors Choose even. Donors and a $1 million grant from the Economic Security Project. According to the SEED website, the initiative will serve as, quote, a guaranteed income for all Americans to ensure opportunity and economic security. We are a city with a challenging past and a promising future. Stockton is in many ways a microcosm of the United States. Major shifts in the economy, such as persistent wage stagnation and rising inequality, have made it increasingly difficult for hardworking people to make ends meet, end quote. This sounds like a economic bailout for working, underclass, middle class Americans. That's what this sounds like. Which would not be wrong, because you had these billion-dollar multinational corporations get bailouts in the hundreds of millions and billions and give themselves, raises. So I don't see that that's wrong. Sorry about that. While Finland and Canada have experimented with their own versions of UBI programs, the concept has gained little national level traction in the United States, leaving cities like Stockton and a private group in Oakland, California, to take the lead. Alaska residents have long enjoyed similar benefits, courtesy of the 42-year-old Alaska Permanent Fund that distributes annual payments courtesy of state revenue gained through natural resources. It's a method that Tubbs hopes will find success in Stockton, a city still facing the consequences of bad decisions made long before he arrived in office. Speaking with KQED News, he explained, quote, I think Stockton is absolutely ground zero for a lot of the issues we are facing as a nation, Tubbs added. We've overspent on things like arenas and marinas and things of that sort to try to lure in tourism and dollars that way. Yeah, because that's called gentrification. He is 27 years old, so he may not understand. He comes from maybe a single parent household, because he didn't mention his dad. So this is what ethnic cleansing looks like, sir. I'm going to read that again. He said, quote, we've overspent on things like arenas and marinas and things of that sort to try to lure in tourism and dollars that way. Yes, because that's how they push you out. When you cannot afford to live there anymore and you want to work a job for 40 to 50 years and not invest your money or not have a safety net, and you think you're going to get paid the same amount for 40 or 50 years until you retire and get that golden clock or whatever you think you're going to get, or your pension. Meanwhile, the value of the dollar keeps dropping. Since the 70s, 60s, and 70s, it keeps dropping. It's the value of the dollar is less. It's worth less. It's worth less than it was then. So, and at the same time, things are more expensive. And if you can't afford to be there, you will be pushed out. That's what war looks like, sir. I guess he doesn't understand that, but let's go on. Still, opponents are not convinced. With a group of individuals recently coming together in an effort to recall Mayor Tubbs, a move that will require a petition of 16,000 signatures. That ain't gonna do nothing. The petition, led by Brenda Vasquez. Oh, here we go. Here's this black and brown unity. Brenda Vasquez, she probably so-called Hispanic Latina. She accuses Tubbs of not exercising fiscal prudence and increasing city council budget to give his, quote, unqualified, end quote, friends jobs. It also states in part, quote, Tubbs neglects basic city services such as parks and street maintenance, neglects homeless and other major city issues. Okay, yes, parks and street maintenance. If you look around the city, a major city, most of the people that clean the parks up and maintain parks and maintain the streets are who? Hispanic. She's speaking to her people, but he's speaking to everybody. I'm noticing that. And here in LA, she kind of trying to speak to everybody with the homelessness thing, because for instance, here in LA, I don't know how it is in Stockton or whatever, but here in LA, a lot of you got a lot of white people that's homeless, and you got a lot of black people that's homeless. I've never really seen a lot of Hispanic people that were homeless. A lot of them got, families and stuff, so she's trying to speak to both sides, but mostly to her own people. I'm gonna have to look her up later. She went on to say, quote, he is not vested in Stockton with over 70% of campaign contributions coming from outside the city, avoids engaging his constituents by voting to hold council meetings once per month, and blocking dissenters on social media. His focus has been using his position for personal celebrity, end quote. I'm sure she got campaign contributions from outside the city, because that's why he doing what he doing, because people in the city ain't got the money. This heifer. Okay. Let me just keep going. That's another announcement. I'm trying not to use profanity. I'm really trying, y'all. I'm going to try harder. Y'all give me motivation, but I'm going to try. It goes on to say, those against UBI in general have also expressed doubts, including critics that suggest a guaranteed wage could diminish American work ethic, a theory early studies have thus far found no evidence to support. While some left-leaning proponents have fought for UBI as an addition to existing benefits, others argue that support for it on a national level could result to cuts in programs like Medicaid and food stamps, a move that will leave millions of elderly and low-income Americans at risk. A move, I'm going to read that again, a move that will leave millions of white elderly and white low-income white people at risk. Because that's where she get her money from. White folks. Okay, and Hispanics who put white on the census and their IDs. As studies continue to emerge, organizations like the Economic Security Project have conducted research on the use of experimental UBI programs. Quote, those left of center like the idea of using basic income as a supplement to the existing safety net, end quote, And this was from a co-chairwoman, Natalie Foster, told the San Francisco Chronicle. For now, Stockton continues to forge ahead with the experimental income program. However, it appears the crowdfunding efforts have nearly stalled with only $1,000 raised of the $500,000 goal. It is unclear if the pushback from local residents are negatively impacting Tubbs' effort. But the mayor isn't backing down from his mission. He told Capital Public Radio, quote, "This is not a handout, it's a hand up. You can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps if you don't have boots. How do you make sure folks who are working 2 or 3 jobs, how do we make sure they are able to enjoy the American dream we hold so dear?" Okay, y'all give me your comments about this at the bottom in the comment section. And let me see, this person, there's a comment here. Fester M. Boyle. Okay. They said Democratic politicians are going to replace all the black folk in chain migration. 60 million new Hispanics once DACA people become legal and bring their entire families. The Hispanics work harder. Okay. So maybe the lifelong Dem voting black folk will get their UBI because Dem politicians use chain welfare to keep black folk down. Dems are just a coalition of grievance monkeys, blacks, criminants, LGBTEIO. Okay, that was kind of cute. Muslims, all clamoring for a few crumbs of mama government's cheese from the people that work. But there's also so many crumbs, so blacks should expect less. This is clearly a white supremacist. So we're just going to scroll past that. And that's it. They only had one comment there. I don't know why they only have. Maybe because it just was posted today, maybe a couple hours ago. Because they usually post their articles like 9 a.m. Eastern Standard, which is 6 a.m. for me. So I don't read them or see them until like 8 or 9. I just left work, so I was there for a couple hours this morning. Yes, on a Saturday. But yeah, this is an interesting story. We'll see where it goes. We'll see if it has any more traction. I'll come back to you if there's any more updates on this particular mayor. I'm gonna look up the Brenda Vasquez chick, see what her deal is, because she sound like she one of them white Hispanics that's trying to throw a wrench in this dude's game. But yeah, y'all tell me what you think in the bottom. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know if there's any other stories you would like to hear, any other topics you'd like to hear about. And I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day.